Hi, I'm Michelle. Welcome to the 21st practice in the Listen series. Today we listen to our feet. This is a Hatha practice in honor of and in devotion to our hard-working feet. No special equipment is required for this practice. Let's begin in Dandasana or staff pose. You can move the fleshy part of the buttocks aside, connect with the earth through your sits bones, feeling a little forward tilt in the pelvis, extending your heels towards the bottom of your space, flexing your feet towards you. Finding a long spine, roll your shoulders back and down. Connect with the earth through your knuckles or palms or fingertips, with your arms by your sides. Extend through the back of your neck, gently tucking the chin. And allow yourself a few breaths here to arrive. As we move today, listening to how our feet connect with the earth, we will also be attentive to how our feet connect to the rest of our body. The song, the shin bones connected to the knee bones connected to the thigh bone, is very true in yoga on a physical and philosophical level. Everything is connected. It is never just about your feet. So let's listen to those connections today as we move, and be attentive to how a shift in our feet impacts the whole system. Releasing your palms, circle your wrists. You can place your palms on your thighs if you like, or on the earth beside you, as we begin to point and flex the feet. Find a rhythm that works for you. You can move slowly, or perhaps with a little bit more speed. Noticing what muscles engage as you point and flex, what muscles need to be recruited. And then begin to circle the ankles clockwise, being attentive to everything that is connected, that is impacted by that movement. Perhaps you listen to the symphony of your ankles, and then reversing your circle counterclockwise. Reversing your circle again, and then reversing your circles one more time. Shaking out your legs a little bit. Let's place the palms behind us, fingers pointing towards your hips or away from them. Draw your feet up, placing them on the earth a little bit wider than your hips. Inhale. Find lift through the chest. Exhale. Allow your knees to fall to the left. Flexing through the feet and spreading the toes. Notice how engaging your feet shifts the experience of rotation in your hip and in your knee. Exhaling to draw your knees back through center. Inhaling to lift your chest and exhaling, allow your knees to fall to the right. Maintaining that energy in the feet. Drawing your knees back to center. And then releasing them to the left. Back to center. You might walk your hands forward a little bit as you scoot towards the bottom of your space and over to the right. Maintaining that lift through the chest. And back to center. Extend your feet towards the bottom of your space again. And draw your right knee up, placing your right foot on the earth. And then drawing your right ankle across your left thigh. A little external rotation through the right hip. And then we're going to take a bind with our foot, interlacing our fingers in between our toes. Might take you a couple of seconds to wiggle into position. And then when you find your bind, give the ball joint of your foot a little hug with your hand. Lengthen through the spine and begin drawing circles with your foot while you have this bind. You can reverse your circle, explore a little here. You might try making a little wave with your wrist. And releasing the bind, wiggling your toes, extending your right foot back out. Draw your left knee up, placing your left foot on the earth. And then take your left ankle across your right thigh and find your finger toe bind on this side. When you find your bind, give the ball joint of your foot, the ball of your foot a little hug with your hand and begin to circle one way and then the other. Find a rhythm that works for you. Perhaps you make a little wave with your wrist. When you feel satisfied, release the bind. Extend your heels towards the bottom of your space. Point and flex your feet again. Circles clockwise and then counterclockwise. And then draw both feet up, placing them on the earth, opening through the knees and drawing the soles of your feet together, coming into cobbler's pose. You can rest your hands on your ankles or your shins or your thighs. Find length through the spine. And then, as if you were opening the pages of a book, open your soles of your feet by gently drawing your thumbs across as if you were massaging from the spine of the book out to the edge of the page. So starting at the side of your foot that is closest to your mat, slowly open your feet and notice how that shifts your knee and your hip. Where do you feel a change in your cobbler's pose? When you feel like you've satisfied your curiosity, you can release your feet, gently close your knees like a book, and come into tabletop position. Wrists underneath shoulders or perhaps a little wider, fingers splayed, knees underneath hip points. And let's begin with the tops of our feet firmly rooted in the earth. So there's a little bit of pressure. You're pressing away from the earth with the tops of your feet. Inhale, find length through the crown. Exhale, draw navel to spine and knit the low ribs together, creating some support for the back here. Inhale. Exhale, draw navel to spine and arch your back, coming into cat pose. Head bows towards the earth, gaze towards your navel, tailbone down towards the earth. Inhale, drop the belly, open through the collarbone, gaze lifts, tail lifts, cow pose. Exhaling to arch, cat pose. Inhale, cow pose. Move through cat-cow, following the rhythm of your breath, maintaining that connection with the earth through the tops of your feet, especially in cat pose. As you arch your back, press away from the earth with your fingers and the tops of your feet. Notice how that connection shifts your cat-cow. On your next inhale, come to a flat back position, tabletop again, and curl your toes under in tabletop. Inhale to find length through the crown. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale, cow pose. Take a few rounds of cat-cow with your toes curled under and notice how this feels. How does it shift your experience of the postures? Do you have a preference? On your next inhale, come to a flat back position, releasing the toes, connecting with the earth again through the tops of your feet. Elbow creases shining forward. Inhale, extend your crown towards the bottom of your space. Exhale, draw navel to spine, find support through the core, and then inhale, extend your right foot out behind you, toes curled under. Begin to gently saw back and forth, stretching through the foot and the calf. And notice the connection here between the foot and the hip as you saw back and forth here. Drawing the right knee back to the earth. Inhaling to reset in tabletop. Exhale to find that core support, and inhale your left leg out, left toes curled under, and gently sawing back and forth here. Drawing your left knee back to the earth. Find tabletop position again. Knees underneath hip points. And then curl both sets of toes under. Perhaps manually tucking your pinky toe. As we come into a toe stand. Listening to the signals your body is sending you. You can choose the degree of extension you experience by changing the position of your hands. This might be enough of a toe stand for you to feel a good stretch through the feet. You can walk your hands back closer to your body for a greater degree of stretch. If you like, you can walk your palms up to the tops of your thighs and extend your crown towards the sky, checking in with the level of sensation here, listening, adjusting, perhaps backing out of the pose a little if that's what your feet are asking for. If you are doing these practices in series, perhaps you notice the shift or the difference as you practice toe stands and how they evolve and change for you. Walk your palms back out. Untuck the toes and tap out the tops of your feet. And then curling your toes under for one more round. Finding the position that feels right in your body today. Walking your palms back out, drawing your hips back towards your heels and lifting them up, coming into downward facing dog. Finding that connection with the earth through your palms, fingers splayed, pressing into the earth with the pads of your fingers and rotating your elbow creases towards the front of your space. Start to play with dropping one heel towards the earth and bending the alternate knee, and then dropping the other heel towards the earth, bending the opposite knee. Just exploring. Your heels don't need to reach the earth. Just checking in with that connection between your foot, your calf, and your knee and your hip. Walking your dog a little. Stretching out through the back line of the leg. Can you find that sense of connection between the heel and the hip that we explored when we were sawing our feet back and forth in tabletop? You might not. It's just an opportunity to listen to your experience. When you feel satisfied, let's cross the right foot over the left and then the left foot over the right, taking up space from left to right as we crisscross our way into a forward fold. When you've found your forward fold next to your palms, gently bend through the knees so that your torso drapes across your thighs. Allow your head to hang. Perhaps you shake the head no and yes. And with your feet hip-width distance apart, taking your peace fingers and thumb, wrap your peace fingers around your big toes and hold on to your big toes with your peace fingers and your thumb. Elbows come out left to right, using your arms to find a little greater extension through the spine, perhaps deepen your fold a little here. And with a great attentiveness to sensation, very gently, inhaling deeply, exhaling to bend a little through the knees. Inhale, Find a little extension through the knees as you lift your hip creases up towards the sky. We are not locking our knees out here. We're just exploring that connection between the earth and our hips. Exhaling, bend through the knees. Inhaling, lift through the hips. Exhale, bend through the knees. Inhaling, lift through the hips. Explore a range of motion that feels good in your body. Stretching out through the back line of the body. Releasing your palms to the earth. Slowly roll up to Tadasana, mountain pose. From Tadasana, let's check in with all four corners of the feet, swaying a little side to side and front to back. Just noticing where our center is, where we feel even weight distribution, where we feel most rooted. Connecting with Padabandha, that foot to earth connection. Notice the ball joint of the big toe. Do you feel connected with the earth there? Notice the ball joint of the pinky toe. Do you feel connected there? Check in with both sides of the heels. Do you feel a connection there? Explore lifting the toes up and swaying a little. How does that feel? Find stillness with the toes up. And how does that feel? Place your pinky toes down and then your ring toes, your middle toes, your second toes, and your big toes. And how do they feel connected to the earth? Draw a little energy up from the earth. You might feel the arches of your feet lift. You might notice a little lift in your ankle. And you might feel that engagement travel up through the legs. Noticing how what happens at the foot doesn't stay in the foot. It travels and connects throughout the whole body. Roll your shoulders back and down and gently tuck your chin. Inhale. Reach your fingers skyward. And as you find extension through the fingers and through the shoulder girdle, where did the shift in your weight distribution go in your feet? Did it change? Did you stay centered? Did you tilt a little to the front or to the back? Just being attentive to what's happening. Exhale, navel to spine, forward fold. Bend through the knees. Notice your weight distribution here. Where are you holding yourself? Inhale. Halfway lift to a flat back position. Notice the shift. Exhale. Fold. Plant the palms and step the right foot back. Lower the right knee and untuck the right toes. Coming into a crescent lunge. Inhale. Reach your fingers skyward. Exhale. Sink a little deeper, connecting with the top of that right foot, as if that right foot is the anchor of the posture. Exhaling to float your fingers back to the earth and draw your hips back over your right knee, flexing your left foot towards your face, coming into half splits here. Gentle bend in the left knee. Extension through the crown. And then articulating through the left foot, roll through it as you draw your weight forward, draw your hips forward, and inhale, back up to crescent lunge. Float your palms back to the earth. Curl the right toes under and step back, downward facing dog. Gently pedal out your feet here. Drawing your hips up towards the sky. As you shine your heart towards your thighs. Inhale deeply. Exhale, navel to spine. Step your right foot up between your palms. Lower your left knee. Untuck the left toes and connect with the top of that left foot as we rise up into crescent lunge on the other side. Float your palms back to the earth. Draw the hips back as you flex through the right foot now, drawing your toes up towards your face and your hips over your left knee. Roll through that right foot, coming back into crescent lunge. Float the palms back to the earth. Curl the left toes under and step back, downward facing dog. This is your last downward dog of the practice. Explore that Pada Bandha, foot to earth connection here. Perhaps you take your feet wide and draw your hips back towards the back of your space. Notice how that shifts your experience of your downward dog. Perhaps you walk your feet a little further from your hands, taking a longer downward dog. Notice how that shifts, how it feels. Perhaps walking your feet a little closer to your hands. What does that change? Crossing your left foot over your right, and then your right foot over your left. Crisscross your way to forward fold. Take your feet a little wider than your hips, toes facing out. Perhaps they spill off your mat if you're practicing on a mat today. And then exhale, lower your hips to the earth. Notice how that changes the connection between your feet and the earth. Perhaps your heels lift. Explore that. Move around. Stretch through the feet. You can choose to keep a still position, heels lowered or lifted with your palms on the earth if you like here. Check in with your weight distribution in your feet and how that feels. You can choose to bring your palms together, finding a little length from crown to tail. When you feel satisfied exploring Malasana, release your palms behind you. Lower your hips to the earth. Center yourself in your space. Slowly lower down. Coming into Shavasana. Extending your tailbone towards the bottom of your space. Taking your feet a little wider than your hips. Perhaps you let them flop in or flop out. What feels intuitive, what feels natural. Tucking your shoulder blades underneath your body and gently tucking your chin. You can choose to rest your palms facing up, backs of your hands on the earth by your side, or perhaps resting your palms on your belly or your low ribs. Take a moment to reflect on how an attentiveness to what happens in your feet shifts the experience of your practice and how you feel. When you have satiated your curiosity, allow yourself to be held by the earth in Shavasana. I will guide you out at the end of the practice. Until then, allow yourself conscious rest. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle the fingers and toes. Circle the wrists and ankles. Draw your knees up, placing your feet on the earth. And then float your knees to your chest, giving yourself a big hug. Roll to one side, using your arm as a headrest. And then slowly press up to a comfortable seat of your choosing. Finding a tall spine. Flutter your eyes open, welcoming the light back in. Thank you for taking the time to listen to your feet today. Our feet do a lot of work and are definitely deserving of some love, gratitude, and tender, loving care. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Namaste.